Argentina, land of tango, Maradona, and chronic economic turmoil. For decades, this South American giant, blessed with vast natural resources, has lurched from crisis to crisis. Inflation, a constant specter, haunted generations. The peso, once mighty, became a byword for volatility. By 2023, Argentina teetered on the precipice. The economy was in freefall. Poverty soared. The International Monetary Fund, a perennial lender, seemed out of patience. Enter Javier Milei, an unorthodox economist with a shock therapy prescription for Argentina's chronic economic malaise. Milei's victory sent shockwaves. Here was a man who promised to slay the sacred cows of Argentine politics. His radical libertarian ideas, a potent cocktail of free markets, fiscal discipline, and a disdain for government intervention, both captivated and terrified the nation. The world watched, captivated, as Argentina once again became an economic laboratory. Milei didn't disappoint. He hit the ground running, slashing government spending, freeing the peso from its shackles, and dismantling regulations with the zeal of a man possessed. Out went subsidies, in came austerity. The markets, initially skeptical, responded with cautious optimism. The peso, freed from its peg, plummeted. Imports, once a bargain, became prohibitively expensive. Inflation, already a problem, soared further. Everyday Argentines felt the pinch. Yet amidst the turmoil, there were glimmers of hope. Foreign investment, long scared off by Argentina's instability, trickled back. The government's fiscal deficit, a perennial problem, began to shrink. The question on everyone's lips was this the pain before the gain? The initial impact of Milei's reforms was jarring. The peso's plunge sent import prices soaring. A loaf of bread, once a staple, became a luxury for some. Long lines snaked outside supermarkets as shoppers grappled with the new reality. Businesses, large and small, struggled to adapt. The old ways of doing business, reliant on government support and a managed exchange rate, were gone. Social unrest simmered. Protests erupted, fueled by rising prices and economic uncertainty. Milei, unfazed, doubled down. This, he argued, was the necessary pain of economic rebirth. The old Argentina, built on unsustainable policies, had to be swept away. As months turned into quarters, a curious thing happened. The economy, against all expectations, began to stabilize. The peso, after its initial freefall, found a new equilibrium. Inflation, while still high, began to ease. Foreign investors, sensing opportunity, poured money into Argentina. The stock market, long dormant, roared to life. New businesses attracted by Milei's pro-market reforms sprouted up. There were still challenges, of course. Unemployment, while lower, remained stubbornly high. Poverty, a deep-rooted problem, persisted. Yet there was a palpable sense of hope, a belief that Argentina might finally be turning a corner. Section 5, the shadow of inflation, a looming threat. Despite the positive signs, inflation remained a stubborn adversary. While the pace of price increases had slowed, it was still significantly higher than Milei and his team had projected. Essential goods and services remained out of reach for many Argentines, fueling discontent and uncertainty. The government's response was a delicate balancing act. Further tightening of monetary policy risked choking off the nascent economic recovery, yet allowing inflation to spiral out of control would erode confidence and jeopardize any long-term gains. The specter of hyperinflation, a dark chapter in Argentina's past, loomed large. The memory of the 1980s, when prices spiraled out of control, wiping out savings and plunging millions into poverty, served as a stark warning. Taming inflation, it was clear, was paramount if Milei's economic experiment was to succeed. Section 6, Winners and Losers, how Milei's reforms are reshaping Argentina. Milei's reforms, while lauded by some, created clear winners and losers. The financial sector, freed from regulations and buoyed by foreign investment, thrived. Large agricultural producers, long hampered by export controls, saw profits soar. On the other hand, public sector workers, accustomed to job security and generous benefits, faced layoffs and uncertainty. Small businesses, unable to compete with cheaper imports, struggled to survive. The gap between rich and poor, already stark, widened further. This uneven distribution of pain and gain fueled social tensions. Protests, once sporadic, became more frequent and intense. Milei, facing mounting criticism, argued that these were the unavoidable growing pains of a necessary transformation. Only time would tell if his gamble would pay off, or if the social fabric of Argentina could withstand the strain. Section 7. A nation divided, the political battle over Argentina's future. The political landscape mirrored the economic uncertainty. Milei's radical approach, while attracting a fervent following, also alienated a significant portion of the population. The Peronist opposition, a potent force in Argentine politics, seized on the economic hardship, accusing Milei of favoring the wealthy at the expense of the poor. The battle lines were drawn. On one side, Milei's supporters, primarily from the business community and the urban middle class, argued that his reforms were the only way to break Argentina's cycle of decline. On the other side, a coalition of unions, social movements, and left-leaning politicians accused Milei of dismantling the social safety net and selling out Argentina's sovereignty to foreign interests. The political temperature soared. Street protests became a regular occurrence, with both sides accusing the other of inciting violence. The media, reflecting the polarization, engaged in a frenzy of speculation and hyperbole. Argentina, it seemed, was engaged in a high-stakes gamble, with its economic future and social cohesion hanging in the balance. Section 8: Argentina's Crossroads, a call to action. Argentina's economic experiment is a story still being written. Will Milei's radical reforms deliver lasting prosperity, or will they sow the seeds of greater inequality and unrest? The answer, as with most complex economic and social transformations, is far from clear-cut. One thing is certain: the world is watching. Argentina's journey holds valuable lessons for other nations grappling with economic stagnation, political polarization, and the challenges of globalization. This is not just a story about Argentina. It's a microcosm of the choices facing many countries in the 21st century. Engage in the debate, explore the data, challenge your assumptions. The future of Argentina, and perhaps even the world, may depend on our willingness to understand and learn from this unfolding economic drama.